Okay, so this is a preview for the events we have on the agenda next week, the week that begins on December 14th to December 18th. First and foremost, in the middle of the week, Wednesday evening here in the old continent, in Europe, the Federal Reserve, historic rate hike expected, huge event. Is it overhyped? Perhaps over, but still deserves a lot of hype. After 9 years, more than 9 years, the Fed is going to raise rates once again. I believe it's very much expected, but not fully priced in. Of course, no hike will lead to a crash in the US dollar. A hike will be historic, will probably strengthen the US dollar. But what's important for the next move in the greenback is what's next for the Fed. Gradual moves in 2016. We will not see a rate hike in every meeting. We have 8 meetings. The Fed meets 8 times. We're not going to see another 2% in rate hikes next year, but we're going to see less. Between 2 and 3 is what's priced in at the moment. Let's see what message we get from Janet Yellen, what message we get from the dot plot that they release regarding interest rates, forecasts, messages that we have afterwards as well. And we're going to hear that the Fed is data dependent. So I believe we'll have a strengthening of the US dollar, but not crazy, and eventually it will reverse in a few weeks' time. But who knows? Who knows? It's really a big, big event. More stuff we have next week. Over the weekend, when markets are closed, we have Chinese industrial output, could impact the open of the Aussie dollar. On Tuesday, we have UK inflation with the retail price index we mentioned in the show today. Okay, but the headline inflation is the most important one. German economic sentiment, early indicator for December, but not the most important one. IFO later in the week is more important. US inflation on Tuesday will get markets very edgy ahead of the Fed decision. Even if we have surprises there, I don't think they'll impact the Fed, but we could see some repositioning on this figure. And we have dairy prices in New Zealand. We saw them rise last time. On Wednesday, of course, we have the Eurozone PMIs. We have final inflation figures for the Eurozone. PMIs are preliminary for December. Inflation is final for November. No big surprises are expected there, but if we do have weak figures, it could weigh on the euro. If we have good ones, of course, it'll support it. UK employment, most important figure to watch there is not the number of jobless claims for November, but actually the wages for October, okay? Because of what the Bank of England said about the flattening of the wage rises. US housing data will probably be totally ignored because it's Fed day. As we talked, it's the historic Fed decision. Afterwards, after the Fed, if anybody's trading the New Zealand dollar, if everybody's looking to that direction on Fed day, we have GDP for Q3. Also, it's a bit stale. On Thursday, we'll have, of course, echoes from the Fed. Lots of analysis, lots of ongoing reactions in the Tokyo session, in the European session, and then a second US reaction to that. But we also have some figures. The IFO figure, most important, #1 think tank in Germany. UK retail sales, headline figure is most important. Jobless claims perhaps will be ignored because of the Fed in the previous day and the Philly Fed. On Friday, we have a rate decision from the Bank of Japan. In theory, nothing is expected, but who knows, perhaps they'll react to the Fed if the dollar weakens for any reason. And we have inflation figures from Canada. Okay, so it's a busy week, but one big event is, of course, overtowering everything. Fed, last big event of the week. It's also the last full week of 2015 because the following week ends with Christmas Eve, and the next one ends with New Year's Eve. So we have sort of short weeks in the next 2 weeks, but next week, lots and lots and lots of action mostly around the Fed, but not only about that. Okay, so that's the preview for next week, and I'll answer